Thank you very much to the man in the chair over there at S-Bubs. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I was muted for the opening. Welcome to Trash Told You. S-Bubs getting a little extra on the pace stuff for the gimmick this month, but no, hopefully I would have caught it eventually, but it's hectic. You might hear him. I swear this happened last time. 12:30 is baby freak out time. They're going to be getting balls right now from the great Emily Brose there. But yes, September 8th, 2025. I was saying, should I drop dates and whatnot on this? Because, we don't do episode numbers. We don't do dates or numbers on any other episodes other than GeekVerse, because there's many times we lost track. You're still doing this? Absolutely, Phil. Just started doing it twice a week now, just this week. So luckily that's going on, still happening, because people keep listening. So somehow, Phil, you would have thought after 10 years that somehow people keep listening. I would be surprised, but they are. And we got lots to talk about today. A little rundown of the week. Obviously, tomorrow's Alien Earth. I'm back on that. Looking very forward to talking about that. Also, we got some Alien to talk about today. What else we got going on here? We got Peacemaker still going on. You can check out the Dexter finale. I'm going to try and do the Dexter rankings today. There was a bit more there's a bit more news for this episode than I intended. So we'll see. If I don't get to rank the Dexter seasons today, it'll do it on Wednesday. Same thing with Mike. Mike asked about the Emmy predictions. Same thing. If I don't do them today, I'll do them on Wednesday, because this show's only an hour. So if it's kind of grip or rip it. If you want some questions answered, Phil, you got one for free there, just because we're friendly. Either join Patreon or head over and do the super chat, and I'll answer whatever I want. And Detail, Patreon. Do you watch Wednesday? I do. I haven't watched the newest episodes. I think I will. It was on a newscast not too recently where Kirkland was talking about this, where him and Shay watched it, really liked the first season, watched this, wasn't really feeling it. And I wouldn't say anything was bad about this new season of Wednesday, anything like that. It just felt like it did not have the same spark, which was funny enough because they put lots of members of the Addams family in this. So I thought, oh, that might add to it. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it's going to be every season just this kind of, who done it. But okay, I really enjoyed part 2 of season 2. I have heard about kind of the twist of the switcheroo, so that's exciting from an acting standpoint. So I will get there. I finished the Newsreader, which obviously people have been listening to newscasts. I've been a big watcher of the Interview the Vampire TV show. So Sam Reed, loved that guy. I finished that, binged it, 3 seasons. My God, it was a great show. I watched it just for Sam Reed, but I stayed for how good the show is. And then right now I'm rewatching Hannibal because and I'm doing other stuff too, but Hannibal just because I'm in the season. I also got AMC Plus, so it's on there right now, and I haven't rewatched in a while, so I will get there detail eventually. I might even get there this week. It's 4 episodes, but just that first part, I didn't love it, so we'll see. Let's see. I suppose I watched the new Caught Stealing movie. It was actually really good. Didn't know anything about going in besides seeing the trailer one time. It's on my list, obviously, as people know. The twins are getting older, so luckily I'll be able to sneak away to movies soon, but sneak away to movies is hard, and the next little bit I know I got Big Bold Beautiful Journey next week. I keep checking every day. There's no tickets whatsoever. And then let me pull up the calendar here. I just feel like there's a lot. I know Tron Ares is coming up. What's the next couple weeks? Smashing Machine, Black Phone 2, which we'll talk about. So the next Running Man's on the way. So next for a few weeks, but I want to. Have you seen any other Aronofsky SVs? I still said you should go watch The Wrestler. If you like that, watch The Wrestler. You're into wrestling. There's lots of good memes there. So we'll see. And Phil's going to get us right into this. I'm sad Fede isn't doing the sequel to Romulus. And that's our main topic today. Check out Alien Earth, are still our biggest reviews of the year for TV show wise. Don't know why. Don't know why they're beating Peacemaker. Don't know why they're beating Last of. And like usually like I think it's beating Daredevil now because Daredevil was number one, but those people keep listening. So big thank you. But yeah, that was the news last week, which was it was very odd. It was like in an interview that he said, "Oh, script's going great. This is going great, but I'm just stepping away from it." Right. And hey, Phil, you're in the chat. Your favorite scooper, Mr. Snyder put out Scuttlebutt, and that there's issues between the two, and there's other people that back some stuff up, some stuff not. Who knows? Because I agree, Mike, with some on the Discord where if you look, he's never done a sequel, right? So is it? I don't know. Is it just I think what's weird for me is it's just weird that the whole year it's been he's directing, then all of a sudden he's not, right? And that could be a bunch of stuff, life stuff. That could be he just does not want to do it, whatever it may say. It is disappointing that's not happening. I wish it was. I was watching Romulus today actually because I haven't seen it since we did the Golden Geeks, and still a great time. I love everything Fede's done pretty much. I've never seen his Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie, and I like that series. I just never got around to because people said it was all right. I will at some point, but loved Don't Breathe. His Evil Dead is next to Evil Dead 2, and I think I might have ranked it number one. I think that's still my favorite Evil Dead. That thing is just brutal. And then Alien Romulus was great. They added lots of stuff in there, right? And that was some of the scuttlebutt going on last week where it was that there was already some, not like, I don't think big issues, but issues he wanted to take the franchise to maybe where they wanted to go, which is the weird thing where, same thing with Ridley Scott, right? Where at one point it sounded like he was going to do something else with Alien, and that sounded like it was off. And then just recently it sounded like he made a comment again. So it sounds like he goes back and forth. But one of the scuttlebutt rumor was that he, meaning he, Fede Alvarez, wanted to use David, and Scott said absolutely not. And I guess what's interesting for me is it's such a tough situation, right? Because Prometheus and Covenant really divided the fan base. I think lots of people enjoy those, lots of people don't enjoy those. It's kind of a push and pull as far as where are you? I'm right in the middle where I really enjoyed Prometheus. I didn't mind that David created this and this happened. Covenant, I've liked a little bit better since revisiting it, but it's not one that I absolutely love, and I don't think I'll watch it again anytime soon, other than Fassbender's great in there, right? So I think the Alien franchise is at an interesting situation because Ridley's still somewhat involved, but he has no, to my knowledge, if anyone knows this in the chat, let me know. But I don't think he has any ownership IP on it, right? It's not like a shared thing with Disney and him, right? So it's kind of weird that if at any point if he's like, hey, don't use David, other directors and writers may be like, okay. Other than what's not weird about it is the respect value, right? Ridley Scott's inspired many people. He did the first Alien. There might be a thing of I don't want to do that, but when I even watching Romulus today, and we talked about this in the review, the whole Rook segment, that feels like that should be David, right? Because the whole back half is Prometheus score and setting up things for Prometheus, and it looks semi-like engineer, like it's there. So I could see a version of that happening. So it is disappointing that he's not doing it. I do hope he does something original, like he says, because I don't think, other than some shorts, when's the last time he did anything original since Evil Dead? I feel like it's all been IP stuff, right? Let me just pull this up here. Oh man, he wrote that Texas Chainsaw that was all right on Netflix. That was not great. I did not enjoy that movie. I remember that being a big selling point. Like, oh, Fede. I think if he was directing, it'd be different. But okay, let's see directing since Evil Dead. So he did, I'm not going to count the From Dusk Till Dawn. So okay, he did one episode of that. He directed 9 episodes of The Calls, which I've never seen. Anybody that's seen his show The Calls, let me know. But yeah, Evil Dead, Don't Breathe, Alien Romulus, all IP stuff. So I would like it. I'm sure that guy makes just like has a bunch of stuff stored up there that we want to see, right? So I would be very much down just for him to grip and rip it. And I would also like it just like if he could do a franchise that becomes something that blows up, like a Weapons, like any of Jordan Peele's things, like even some of the Ari Aster's old stuff, right? Not necessarily that blew up in the box office sense, but in critical, right, in the community and everything. So, Calls is a TV show that is only audio, no visual element. What? Calls is basically a podcast. Okay, that's interesting. So I will go back up here and see what some of you guys are saying here. Superman Mike says, I'm sure he could have done a sequel to Evil Dead if he wanted to, but he chose not to there too. I guess, but the weird thing with Evil Dead was that they took that 10-year break, right? We've talked about that before. The Evil Dead 2013, right? That's when it was, or was it 2012? Yeah, 2013. That was a big success when you looked at the budget. So I was always surprised, even without Fede, it took a decade to get that going, but I think so too. Let's see. Phil says, maybe he wrote the movie isn't a movie that he thinks himself can make. It probably plays differently than Romulus. I think Romulus makes Prometheus and Covenant so much better. I agree with you there. Lots of people don't do that. Fox owns franchise, but I imagine Scott's consulted frequently. And I agree with that, right? And that's the tough thing of, we've heard this before. This happened with Scott and Neil Blomkamp. I'm going to adjust because my back is all of a sudden it's like, don't do this. You're in pain. We heard that, right? That Neil Blomkamp was making a pseudo Halloween 2018 sort of thing, right? Where they're going to do an Alien 3, but it's going to ignore everything else except for Alien and Aliens. So, and he kind of sounds like he put the kibosh on that. So it is an interesting thing. I'm down for kind of both, but it's tough if we only get one Alien thing. I think that it's probably not best to go back to what Scott wants to do. I want to continue the story, David. I want to see where that goes. I think if there was a way to perfectly get David into a new continuity like Romulus or whatever's happening after that, that's the perfect alley, right? That's the perfect way to go because it's best of both worlds. I do think if you kind of go back to the Prometheus Covenant stuff, I think there's a lot of people that didn't speak to and a lot of people that wouldn't come back for that. So I think the success that Predator's having and Aliens having, I don't think that's going to happen if you do that with going back to Scott right now. Just in my opinion, I don't think that's what people are looking for the franchise. I think there's stuff in Romulus, of course, that plays a little bit like a pseudo remake or like a Force Awakens, right? But there's some new stuff in there, some great imagery, great score last movie as well, too, great acting. Like, there's enough juice there to follow those characters and do something completely new with it, right? But it's tough because you want to respect the past, but you also don't want to just go exactly that route. And that's the same thing. Like, I don't know if it's like, how do you do that? That's the thing. If we're talking about people that are going to direct the next movie, Scott's definitely not that. And I don't think he would be working for that as far as for a Fede script as well either. I think it would still be his own thing. And if you're asking me if that should happen, I don't know if his own thing should happen either. I think that's just it's risky for the success you've had, because what happened with the Predator, and even though people like Covenant, there's tons of people that don't, right? And it kind of, I know critically didn't do well. What was the success or lack thereof of Alien Covenant? I just want to see the box office. Obviously still successful enough to be like, let's franchise this, let's like make more. They didn't just kill the franchise and they just left it for 30 years. But no, actually not too bad though. Actually looking at it, budget of 97 to 111, obviously just production, but then box office 240, obviously. And I think Romulus did around that, right? So Alien Romulus was 350, so did it was cheaper as well, obviously inflation, but cheaper, and did about a 350, so 100 million more. So yeah, and like to Phil's point there, Covenant really turns the folks off. I think that's the thing where I think that's risky, where Predator's having massive success. I'm very curious how Badlands is going to do this fall, because obviously Prey and Killer of Killers were both streaming, right? So that's obviously successful if they're getting sequels, but we don't get to see that level, right? We don't know how successful. Romulus, to me, $80 million budget on 350, you're laughing, right? So, and obviously Romulus 2 is happening. There's no danger of that. Or whatever the sequel is, it's happening. It's just a question of what's the rest of that franchise. And Alien Earth, I don't know how it's doing well in FX, but like for us, doing great, critically doing great. I definitely see there's some people that don't enjoy it, but I think it doesn't matter if the numbers are there for them, right? Like, even if there's someone who's, oh, this is more like Blade Runner. Oh, this is like, I haven't watched the last episode because I'm doing a whole binge to more of watching the last three because I had the last 2 weeks off of Alien Earth. So I'm going to watch episode 4 and 5 and then 6 all back together. But I've heard some people say last episode was kind of like a make or break for some of them. Doesn't matter as long as the numbers are, right? Like, we talk about Dexter all the time. I don't really enjoy anything they've done with Dexter the past couple years, but the numbers have been there. But that's where you never know with streaming, right? Original Sin breaks all these records for Showtime, and then they cancel its second season. So it's like, the streaming is the hardest thing. So that's why Predator, very excited for Badlands to see what that does financially and what people go out to pay and see. And I think there's still a rumor that might be PG-13. I don't know for sure. I know that's a rumor going around. I hope not. But so with Alien, yeah, we'll see what type of update we get. It does suck that Fede's not doing it. I was looking very forward to the follow-up, so we'll have to see what he does. He's a guy that no matter what he does, I'm going to check out. Granted, I did not check out the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo one. I think I just kind of forgot that happened, right? But let me go to the Patreon list here because people had some. Detol, you said the guy, so Dan Trachtenberg, who could direct, like who does Prey, Badlands, could do this. The only way I would be kind of, not only way, great director, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm saying in the sense that clearly, I think, I don't know. I made a pizza bet with Dylan last year, and I said we weren't going to get a Predator versus Alien theatrical in the next 10 years. Then a lot of stuff happened this year, and I walked that back, right? Especially we got a fucking Wayland android in Badlands. They're setting those seeds. I do think you could get Dan or someone in his camp to do it, and maybe he is the shepherd. He is the guy because he's already doing alien stuff in Badlands that maybe he directs an alien and that sets him up to do AVP, whatever they call it, right? Because I do think they are going to do that. This makes me like second guess it a little bit because I kind of thought that Fede was going to be maybe like a shepherd of Alien and Dan would be a shepherd of a Predator, and then they kind of come together and make some sort of concoction, but I don't think that's happening, so I would lead to Dan, and that's great. Dan Trachtenberg's a great director. If they were announced that, great. Superman Mike says, I'll laugh if his writing partner, Roto Sagas, directs the film like with Don't Breathe. Where is it here? Give me 1 second. I'll take a drink of water as well while I hit this.
They are going out of their way to fuck me.
Granted. Maybe there's something there. Don't Breathe 2, big mess. I don't know if Fede actually wrote that. I know he got obviously the story based on credits, but Don't Breathe 2 was not good for a multitude of reasons for myself. I know it has some defenders. I'm definitely not one of them. So that wouldn't be an exciting pick. And that would just feel like you could get lesser Fede, right? So we'll go from there. Cocktail Clay with a very interesting pick that I don't think is a bad one, but he says my pick is David Prior. I think that's how you say his name. He was a longtime protege and making of documentarian of David Fincher. He's of course debuted with The Empty Man, which may have not been the best script, but I still loved it for its visuals, novelty, and prologue in the mountains. The prologue in the mountains, man. We'll get there in a second. All he has done since is produce small Netflix documentary and direct one episode of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Did he? Okay. Let me see which one he did, because I watched that. That show really no one talked about, but I enjoyed it. But here's the thing. So I obviously, we did a retrospective for that. He did The Autopsy. The Autopsy is really good. That has like some alien. I think I said that was the best episode of the Cabinet of Curiosities. So here's the thing. I think Clay, you're completely right. Where I don't even know if the script is bad for Empty Man. I think it's just like, what do you enjoy with your story and some broad strokes? And as you could tell when we did that retrospective, I think most of us did not enjoy that. I think there's some stuff that it's not exactly, this is not the twist at all. So you can still watch The Empty Man. But I think it's if people really detest or don't like the and it was a dream type of trope thing, right? Because it has elements of that. And I think that's where you would put people off. I don't think that would happen with Alien. I remember watching The Empty Man because there's tons of people like Clay that love that movie. And I'd heard all this scuttlebutt about it. Watched it, the prologue in the mountains. I'm getting the chills right now. It's great stuff. That's when I watched it. Like, this is going to be one of my favorite horror movies of this decade. And I think there's some really great stuff. My other favorite thing, other than the prologue, Clay, is when he finds the cult and they're chanting, and then I'll just say when it stops, and then what happens next. That's some great build up and tension. Like there's stuff that, and that's what you can always say in a movie where even if movie's like a 6 out of 10 or it's not your cup of tea, like Empty Man, I don't know if I'll ever watch again, but there's two moments, the prologue and the cult thing, that I'll remember forever. Like that's burned in my mind as that's legit scary, right? So I think he could do a great job. I would not like I can see the workings of it. Do I agree with you that it's not going to happen? Absolutely, because it's even with Dan and Fede, it felt like they got some people with some previous hype, right? Like obviously Fede had Don't Breathe and Alien. Dan Trachtenberg had 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I feel like he has something else that I'm missing, right? Dan Trachtenberg. And I know he did a lot of great Black Mirror episodes, but let's see. No Escape. Oh, maybe he does. Like, obviously he has other stuff, but maybe that is his biggest one, 10 Cloverfield Lane. But that in itself, you get that and you go, okay, we know what we're working with. So, Black Mirror. Okay. Warframe directed the cinematic for Warframe. There you go. So yeah, no, Trachtenberg hasn't had like too much going on in his career. What has he wrote into? Yeah, same thing. So that's about a movie named Kickin' as well, but obviously with Predator that worked out. So I don't think David has that. Even with Dan, if you just sit down and say, hey, I did 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think they're gonna say, let's give this guy a shot, right? But I really like the pick, Clay. That'd be a very fun, full circle moment here. Then Mike with some interesting ones. So Mike says his realistic pick is JT Molnar. Now, I have to confirm. I think, does he have a movie premiering at TIFF right now? I could be wrong, but I think there's a movie going around right now with Kyle Gallner, I think that's how you say his name, and then Samara Weaving. Let me see. 18 Wheels and a Dozen Roses? Let me see if that's the one. No, it's not. Then it's somebody that. So he's really doing nothing after Strange Darling right now. Like he has upcoming stuff, but nothing that's releasing. Hey, I guess that was just last year. No, it's 2023. I guess more 2024 because festivals and whatnot. So JT, like if they were to announce that, I think that'd be quite a difference. Like here's the thing, I don't think that's a bad pick, Mike. I think it's a good one. It would excite me. I think it's quite different, right? Because with Fede right away, I saw that. With JT, I almost want him to do more stuff in the Strange Darling type of ilk. I loved that movie, the performances, the visuals, everything. Obviously, I think there's some controversy with some of the story and how it handles it, but I was happy with all that. I thought it was a great thriller. Loved how they play with time, especially, right? And I guess you could do something like that with Alien. I don't know if they'd want to go that far, but I'd be down for it. That's a good pick. But I think your dream pick, which I didn't even think about, and even you say, oh, probably not going to happen. But I think you got me. My dream pick for this is Mike saying my dream pick for Alien that will never happen is Cordelia Fargat. Man, she would be fantastic. And I don't think, I think you're saying it'll never happen. I think you're going too far. I think there's a chance it could. If you don't know, she did The Substance, and then it's called Revenge, right? The other movie. But she did that movie. And I think the reason I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, yeah, Revenge, Substance, and she has nothing else right now working. So the reason I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility is she's an Academy Award nominated director, right? Like she got the Oscar nom because I thought it was a big thing where Substance got a lot more than people were expecting. Yeah, nominated for 3 Oscars. I'm guessing probably screenplay, right? So she got original screenplay, directing, and best motion picture. I completely forgot The Substance got that. Love that. That was my favorite movie of that year. So Mike, I'm with you. I would. If they were to announce her, holy moly. Like, I think I'd be a little bit more excited than even I was for Fede, because Fede is one of my favorites, but I think just because I think with Fede, I knew kind of what I was getting in a sense, and he did a lot of the gory, really brutal alien stuff, right? With her, I think that yes, The Substance, there's some body horror there. Obviously, Revenge adds that in. But I think the aspect of Alien with the mothers and the breeding, and sometimes we get some weird, even with Romulus, right? We got that with Isabel Merced's character and what happens with the baby. I think there's some really great stuff that Coralie could do. And I'm probably butchering her fucking name. I feel like she's one of the people I always butcher. I can say David Del Smasha, no problem, but Coralie Fargat. I think it's because I think she's French or something like that, right? So I always feel like I have it, and then I hear them say it, and then I hear another person say it, and I have 3 different versions. But either way, let's see. Oh, Superman says, I mean, like, it would be more beneath her. She might just want to do originals. You know what? That's fair. Because didn't she have like a meeting with Marvel for something? So I think the reason, let's see, Marvel, let's see. Yeah, she had a chance to direct Marvel's Black Widow, but declined to focus on her passion project, The Substance. So I see from that angle, you know, you're absolutely right. I'm still not gonna say never, because you never know. A director puts out one movie, bombs, and like, hey, I'll take this. Could also be same thing though. One for you, one for me. Maybe it's Disney or Focus or whatever is going to say, hey, Searchlight, like, hey, we'll give you, that's what it is, Searchlight, the kind of more indie Oscar stuff. We'll give you a blank check or like a big check for this Oscar independent or passion project, but we'd really like if you come do that. So there's always possibilities, right? I think also with that, there's a chance that you could hit on the legacy angle of Alien and go, hey, what do you want to do with it, and how do you want to add to this movie that has been talked about as inspiring so many pieces of media throughout time. But at the same time, that person might go, I want to do that for someone else, right? Like, I see something like The Substance. GeekVerse says no budget to do anything like that, but that's a movie where I go, oh, that inspires me as like a writer director to be like, I've always said, the third act, that movie, I know people hate, or lots of people hate. I love it because there's so many movies that tease that, but then like, we're never gonna go that far. We're not gonna get that crazy. But no, like, I I'm happy she went balls to the walls there. So yeah, that to me is, I hate that you put that out there, Mike, because that would be the one, but I'm completely fine if she does something original, but she would be a very, very exciting choice. So yeah, I think that was it. And I don't have, I think I don't have like a in general, because I was trying to think about this, and Mike kind of like, once he said that put that in my brain. I wouldn't mind if you could find someone great in TV as well that's willing to make the jump, but someone that obviously has likes that, like, that we're gonna talk about later. Someone like a Brian Fuller would have been great. I want someone like that that is in the horror realm and can jump over and do that. I would be fine with Dan if he did that. Um, but there's no one as of right now I'm running to be like, that has to be the one. I wouldn't mind Lee Winnell as well. I think that would be my pick. Obviously, we don't know how much he's in tied with the Saw franchise or reboot, because they've said that they're going to bring them back in. I don't know if that means they're actually right. I don't know if that just means like, look at a script like, you're good, here's a paycheck. But Lee Winnell, I think, would actually be my pick. That's one where after Wolfman didn't hit as hard as Invisible Man, you think of Upgrade. I think Lee could do some great stuff and do a different perspective. So I guess that's the pick I'm going with for now. So we'll take our first ad break, and we'll be back with more topics. So we'll be right back. All right, The Conjuring. Let's talk about staying in the horror realm right now. I don't know, Flanagan for Alien, huh? I guess the other one that reminded me, I know a lot of people have thrown out the Noah Hawley thing. I think the reason why I'd say no to Flanagan and Hawley is because, and both directed movies, right? I think with certain things, they prefer TV. Like House on Haunted Hill, there's no way Flanagan would ever have done that as a movie, right? That's like, I want the 8-hour dive into every family member, every nook and cranny. I think I would be down for it. I don't know if people would like his Alien movie. I think he'd be great with some aspects, and I think you could do something really different with Flanagan that. But one, it sounds like he's always super busy, but you announced Flanagan. He's probably my favorite horror director in this age. Obviously, a lot of it's TV, so that's where if it was film, I'd probably lean in some other people. But even Doctor Sleep was great. I loved Life of Chuck. Obviously, not a horror, but had some great horror moments in it. I'll just say the blackout in Life of Chuck. That got me going. I was like, oh man, this is some great stuff here. So Flanagan would be good, but I don't think that would mesh well for what Disney I want. And same thing, no Hawley. I think he just would want to do that in the TV realm. I wouldn't be mad if they announced, hey, he's going to make the big jump over and do it. But I think those two are in a similar ilk there, right? But yeah, speaking of Lee Winnell, The Conjuring, The Devil. No, I have that up for anything. Conjuring Last Rites. I will pull up some of the records. It's fascinating what is happening, because I've said this multiple times. The Conjuring Last Rites has the second biggest opening weekend for a horror movie ever. Third biggest September let's see, did it end up for domestic? Oh my God, my Twitter's going against me. Okay, so fourth biggest September, but I think it's like it ended at 84.5 million. Conjuring Last Rites actually had the biggest global opening weekend for a horror film ever, $194 million. That's why I had this up. The Devil Made Me Do It. Granted, COVID times, dual release as far as HBO Max and the theater, but still sometimes be successful. But still, 206 million, right? Let me see the Conjuring. What was I don't think these things are cost that much. They'll make me do it budget here. Let's see. 39 million. They're fucking laughing. They're laughing. And plus, like, that's HBO money, everything like that. But still, 206 on a 40 million budget. I'm not sure what the Conjuring Last Rites budget was. I'll look that up too. But this is why I've been talking about. I don't know when I think it was probably around Barbenheimer time, right? Because there's a lot of things. Let me see if I can just find the budget for Conjuring Last Rites. 55 million, all remained 194. They're laughing again, right? That's why they must be mad that they call this the Last Rites, because I'm sure they could find another Warren case. But to kind of walk it back a little bit, this movie, which I would have never thought, like I had a chance. If you don't know, the movie draft, every year we select 10 movies who we think is going to do the best at the box office. I accidentally picked live action Moana because I thought it was this year. The boys nicely let me redraft, but a lot of the picks were gone. And I think I could have got Conjuring, and I don't think I did. I think I chose the Black Phone because I kind of thought the juice of the Conjuring was going away. And that's the tough thing, because I think let me just see, Conjuring. Oh, I do got the Conjuring. Hell yeah, okay, that's good. But I would never thought this. This movie was projected at domestically, 35 to 45 million for the opening weekend. Makes 84 million. So in some cases doubles the projections, right? I think since COVID, it's been a weird thing, because with COVID was this weird year of, there's tons of movies, right? Like Conjuring, 204, Devil Made Me Do It. That's a good haul for that. But we don't know, hey, in the world that's not on HBO Max, in the world where people could go to the theaters, whether they feel safe or they just weren't allowed to, who would have gone to this? So I think that 2020, 2021 has impacted what I'm about to say. And I've been saying this since Barbenheimer. I don't think I'm so bad at box office, but if you look at the GeekVerse history, I felt like for majority of 2015 to about 2000, I'd say whenever COVID, I'll just say till COVID, I was pretty on spot with stuff. I said, oh, that's going to do this, I can do that. Always, sometimes I was surprised whether I was wrong or did better, whatever it may be. But I had a usually good gauge, and it'd be far more less mistakes. And not that I made a mistake. When I saw 35-45, I even thought, though, that was high. But I thought, you know what? They're doing the whole, because lots of movies do this, right? Pushing as the last one. It's the end of a chapter trilogy, end of the story. Okay, I can see this having a little bit of a push. We're getting into Halloween time, sure. 35-45, even myself thought, well, that's a lot. I think it climbed to 55, right? But even though I'm like, that's quite a bit for Conjuring. I think I said in the Discord, like, I didn't know it had this much juice. I thought that was too much juice. 84 million? Biggest global horror movie opening of all time? That's too much juice. That's way more juice than I would have ever thought. So I was in shock when this happened. And even with Barbenheimer, I thought there was no way you have to move those two. And obviously it became an event at that point. But I mean, like, talking about like the year when we do our movie preview, and I saw those on the dates, I'm like, man, you got Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie in the Barbie live action movie versus, at that time we thought it might be all black and white, but still a halftime black and white biopic about the fucking nuclear bomb. There's no way. I thought Oppenheimer was going to crash and burn, and that's the same thing with Tenet. Tenet did whatever it did, right? But that was in the middle of it was right at the start of COVID. No one wanted that out, and same thing. So that movie only made 365, which is really good, right? For that time. Same thing. A lot of people throw it up as, oh, we don't know, like that's a slight on his record, yet more people should have went out. Again, that was the height of COVID. People could have been scared. We don't know. If that came out regular time, no COVID, no restrictions, and everything's the same, streaming doesn't get enhanced. And I think the way streaming is now is something I thought would be 10 to 15 years from now, but COVID escalated that, right? Maybe Tenet's like a massive movie. Like, even what was Dunkirk? I feel like that's at least like 600, right? Somewhere in there. Let's take a look here. Dunkirk, okay, 533, which makes sense for that type of movie, right? But maybe because Tenet, a bit more flashy spy thriller, maybe that's a 600 million, even $700 million movie, right? You just don't know. So I think COVID messed a lot of those things up because we don't know who stays at home, who watches what now. And if you're asked me, no, I would not have thought Conjuring would have done that well for not only that it being the fourth Conjuring, I think it's like the ninth film in that franchise. Like there's tons of movies in that franchise. So it's been the stone has been squeezed for as much juice as possible, but people were happy to go out. And it's just, I don't know, David Zaslav or somebody at Warner Brothers just made a fucking deal with the devil because I think they have some streak. Like I think they broke a record. It's like there's been no studio that's had 7 movies in a row open at, I think it's like 45 million plus or 50 million plus, something like that. They're on a roll with Minecraft, with Superman, with this, with Sinners. They got a lot of like little hits, big hits, mediums. They got everything, right? Which sucks because not sucks. That's good, but I feel like they're going to use it as like a way to sell. And when they sell, I just worry about what's going to happen with DC and all the other brands and losing Warner Brothers. Like not something I'm really looking forward to. But so yeah, great for Conjuring. I've not seen it. I don't know why I think because I enjoyed the last one, but I wasn't dying to see it. None of them reached that first one. Once Taylor was out of town on his trip, I knew we weren't reviewing it. If we were reviewing it, I would have, but that's when I'll happily catch on VOD. And I think I've heard like enough like good to mix where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see this in theaters. I haven't heard anybody that I really trust like, you have to see this one. This is a Travis movie, right? But some other, I guess I should mention, it's Monday, so that's why we're doing box office. Every Monday we're gonna do box office. I'll give you the top 10 here. Hamilton. So yeah, Conjuring at that time was 83. I think the adjusted one was 84. So they got that. The Hamilton 2025 re-release, 10 million. Great for that. Weapons, third place at 5 million. What are we looking at overall here? 251. Just such a good haul. I think that's on VOD. I think tomorrow it is. So yeah, but that another huge success story for Warner Bros. Right there. Freaker Friday again. Whatever you say about the guy, Iger, when he came in and had all those ideas. Hey, let's take Moana. Freaker Friday. Sounds like that's what they're doing in Mandalorian, right? Everyone said, yeah, it was pretty much just Mandalorian season 4. Hey, let's make it a movie. Freaker Friday, $142 million, which I'm sure people are like, oh, 100, but like, that's better than just throwing on Disney Plus. And let's see what's the budget of that thing. Like 40 million, like 40 to 45 million. Made 100, like you made 100 million profit just based on the production. But like no duh, easy win sort of there, right? So that's doing good. Even though summer overall very low box office for the sorry, I messed that up. The summer had a very low box office overall. It's the lowest since COVID happened, so that's tough. Caught Stealing at 3.2 million. After that's like a lot of little ones. The Roses at 2.8. Fantastic Four at 2.7. Bad Guys at 2.4. Light of the World 2.4, and Superman at 1 million. What is Fantastic Four? So it's 511, cross up 500. That's good. I think Superman's like 614, right? Yeah, 614. So they're about 100, and that's not too bad in the sense of, obviously you'd like to be closer, but in the way of like Superman beating Fantastic Four, 100 million, not that bad considering where both those brands are, right? So we'll see. Yeah, S-Bubs is true. WB is on this big streak of huge releases, but their next release is one battle after another, which looks to be a good movie. But I feel like it's gonna be a mega bomb. I think the reason it's also gonna be a mega bomb is the rumor around that movie is the budget's like bigger than what you'd think. Obviously, because there's a lot of stars, right? But yeah, I'll be there. I'll see that. That was my most anticipated movie. Like I think people Detail asked me last week about what's left, and that was what's left, and I'm very excited. It's a PTA movie. Leo, Benicio, Sean Penn, like that's exciting to me. I like the trailers. It looks really good. But yeah, the marketing has been weird. The whole like football marketing they did last week with that tweet, the Fortnite, they're trying anything, but I don't think that can't work, but if the rumor is of that certain, is that because is the budget out or is it just scuttlebutt right now? One battle after, and that's the other one. Big bold beautiful journey and one battle. I've been looking and I can't. There's no tickets yet anywhere. Like I'm ready to go see this. Let's see the budget. Oh my god, 115 million. Hi, and that's just the rumor. Like Oh my! But then there's another one that says, see, and then Wikipedia says budget 130 to 175. That's the thing because I know there's been multiple podcasts and things I've read of scoopers throwing out different things, which means that's probably a bigger budget. So this budget's anywhere from 115 to 175. I love PTA. I love all these people. Don't get me wrong. It's great for us as a moviegoer. Great, put it all in there. I don't care. But like, if you're asking me on a success level, a PTA movie, Leo, which Leo doesn't have like a massive track record. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was probably his last biggest hit. It's like 175 million. Like, so yes, WB's finally gonna lose their streak. It's kind of like how they started with Mickey 17, right? They started Mickey 17, that was a flop, and now one battle after another is gonna come back. Luckily, they've had all these wins. I'm very excited to see this movie. This could be my favorite movie of the year, but I just yeah, that's a crazy one. So let's see. Yeah, Espo says in the trailer, looks like there's a couple big sequences. Could see it being like 100+ million budget. Yeah, and that's the thing. Big sequences, and PT I'm sure is not cheap, and Leo apparently is not cheap all the time. We've heard that many times. Some of the price tags. I think he's gotten some big, like close to like 25-50 million dollar payouts for some. I think like Netflix, he got that for that, right? And there is a rumor for that the Once Upon a Time Hollywood sequel that they're trying to get him and throw some big money his way. So, credit to Leo, credit to the stars. Like they're like, I'm not saying anyone should not go get their bag. Go get their bag. The same thing with Downey. People get mad. It's like, well, if they're willing to pay him, he can go get it. You could look at the studio, maybe say, hey, maybe don't do that and try to figure out elsewhere, but that's up to them, right? So some trailers, let's see, Black Phone, Monster, the Ed Gein story, Wake Up Dead Man, Dust Bunny, and The Birthday Party. Let's start with the Black Phone. I was very worried. They showed something in this trailer that I thought was a big spoiler. It was a death, but then it looked like after they show that character was alive. So I was like, okay, unless if I'm watching the movie that is when they die, gonna be really bummed out because it was like a big sequence, but I think it was just all dream stuff. But the weird thing was, it was like in the real world, how this person was getting hurt feels like that would be them, like you couldn't survive those wounds, so it could be something else, right? But this is S-Bubs. If you've seen this trailer, or anybody else is a fan, thank you S-Bubs for putting. I will say, anybody that's a Patreon, go this week. We put on at GV Day, you guys unlock us to the stretch goal of, we'll do a movie franchise that you guys pick, 9 films or under. Put in your submissions now. Then on the weekend, the Patreon producer is going to vote. You put Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously it's the one I'm pulling for. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. But anyone that's seen Nightmare on Elm Street, if you see the trailer looked like it, the first one. Number 2, they literally do a thing where a girl's dreaming, people walk in and she's getting thrown across the room and you can't see. It's like a like imaginary figure, whatnot, right? So Espo says, I'm so mad Fast and Furious is more than 9 movies. We've talked about doing it. We thought about doing it. It's been, don't get me wrong, I suppose it's been on the calendar many times. I just don't know when this last one's coming out, so we'll see. We talked about it, but then it's kind of lost a little hype, like honestly, the Fast franchise. So we might, it depends, because I think that one's always tougher too, because I'd have to talk. I think Kirkland was very like a iffy on it. The retros that are just like just the two of us, that's always tougher, because if someone can't do it and what we're scheduled with, so maybe in the future it still might happen. But this, if you were to just replace the Grab or the Freddy, this looks like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie in the 2025 era. Like everything I did, like just the things he's even saying, the plot of, oh, we got to go back to, because I thought they were at this campsite and it's just going to be like he comes after them, right? No, the sister's having dreams. They're saying, go to this campsite. It's literally like, go to the house, go to the boiler room. Like it's that. And I love that it is a campsite, because it feels like it's kind of like Jason and Freddy coming together. So the fact that we're getting probably no Nightmare on Elm Street movie anytime, I love them riffing off it. And I don't care ripping it off in a sense, but that's fine. Like they're taking the concept and changing it a little bit with like the phone and some of the aspects, but it's like, it's kids. The guy's like, you could argue he's a pedophile, right? Like there's all these like similarities. Ethan Hawke in there is very much like a Robert Englund, where he's a fantastic actor. So like, I'm just kind of fine with them ripping it off. I've said this before, but yeah, Superman, like that's a good one. Scott Derrickson is also a good Alien director pick. Yeah, that's a really good one. I'd be completely down. Because I have a mixed thing with him. Sinister, I don't know if it's top 10, but I'll just say one of my favorite horror movies all time. One of my favorite Sinister movies. Not Sinister 2, but that's funny how that has like a similar like don't breathe trajectory. Or Sinister 2, really bad. Strange, I enjoy the first Doctor Strange. I don't like it like as much as a lot of other people. I'm definitely in the Doctor Strange 2 camp. I think, and same with Black Phone. I thought Black Phone was okay. I even rewatched it last year, hoping to like it more. Has some great concepts. This, I think, looks like it could be evolutionary that I really enjoyed. And the Gorge this year, I actually enjoyed that way more than I thought. Yes, there's just some messy, gross CGI slop in there. When they start fighting those monsters, all the believability goes out the window, but I like the story, the themes, I like the ideas. So the Gorge I really enjoyed earlier this year. So yeah, that would be a good pick. He's kind of, I won't say he's 50-50 for me, but he's that way of like I really enjoy a project, I think it's okay, but he's a good solid director. But this I cannot wait. Because I was really excited for the Black Phone after Sinister, and it disappointed me. I'll say I was let down. I was underwhelmed by it. Not disappointed. I was underwhelmed. This is the second shot, and this chair is like speaking to me. If it underwhelms, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be disappointed. I'll give up on the Black Phone situation. Let's see, Monster Ed Gein. Not sure how people feel about this. I this is like a longer episode, right? And maybe I'll do this for the because none of the GV guys are gonna review Monster. I probably will. That's someone will binge. I reviewed the Dahmer one, right? And I even talked about it there because lots of the victims' family members came out. I will never go against a family member or even a viewer that says I don't want to watch this because it glorifies or does X, Y, and Z. I completely get that. I am watching it because when I was older and started looking into psychology, because that's what my dad does, like serial killers and all that methods always interested in me because it's just like what drives a person to get to that point, right? So the Dahmer review, that was years ago, Detour. Whenever it first came out, I reviewed it because to me, that's a 10 out of 10 series. Evan Peters to me is one of the most underrated actors in the world today. He did phenomenal. I thought that did a great job. I thought there were multiple episodes that really did try to signify on the victim's perspective, but I get it, right? Because it is kind of glorifying. Because this trailer, here's the thing. I think Ryan Murphy is similar to how I saw last week with Emerald Fennel. I'll say it again. So many people, and Aspo's linked me in that because there's a lot of tweets, right? And I saw them right after of like, it's a lot of like the sex videos where like massaging dough or they're slapping meat. Like it's a big jacked up guy doing lots of those type of sexual things and it's TikToks. And like, yes. And I've heard that before. She's a TikTok director. She's a music video director. Well, I don't know. The fucking lady has an Academy Award. People might not like think that like that might not matter to them, but clearly it's going well for her, and there's people that agree with what she does. It's taste, right? It's like Kubrick. Tons of people back then fucking hated Kubrick. The Shining was considered a bad movie when it came out. To me, that's the greatest horror movie of all time. So I'm not trying to say Emerald or Ryan Murphy are on that level. I'm saying I think they share something where they have their groups of people that really enjoy their work and have their people that go against them. I'm very much on the enjoyer in the middle. Ryan Murphy, I think, does lots of great storytelling and like Fenrir. There's some really good like visuals and sets, and I think it's shot well. Like I think he can be a technically great director. I think there's many things in his repertoire that I did not enjoy. American Horror Story fell off the rails after I'll say season 3. I think both Coven and because there's the first American Horror Story. That's pretty much a perfect season to me. That was a fantastic. Even that ended like a little, like the finale was I don't know, a little half baked. But even then, I thought it was still great. I don't even know, like I can't even say that. I still think I'd give that first season a 10. Asylum, Coven, Asylum, I think still not great, but they started to show some issues, but still we're fine overall. Once we get into 4 and on, American Horror Story gets fucking wild, and not in a good way. And I don't mean just because like, oh, more sex and drugs. I just mean the way of they take some swings that it feels like sometimes the story is not there. It's more about the shock value, which some people say about Emerald, right? But I'll say, because I saw so many people uppity and with their nose up and stuff. One, just don't watch it. Like, no, like you don't have to. And 2, I think I said this last week, but Wuthering Heights, that we are fucking in an age where there's multiple event like Marvel movies bombing. You think Wuthering Heights just a straight adaptation for the 18th time in the last decade's gonna pull numbers? Sure, you got Margot and Jacob, but it's not like everything they do pulls numbers. So it's like you gotta give it some spice, right? Now here's the thing with Monster, when they're like before change, like from just a purely critical, appreciator of the arts, loved this trailer. Visually was great. The build up, the cops going in, looking in. I'll address it in a second, April. But the cops looking in, slowly find the skin, everything like. And I, after like when I started to get interested in that stuff, and like talking to my dad, because like I said, he's a psychologist and all this stuff. When I went down looking at all the serial killers and reading American Psycho and Dexter, I know all this shit about Ed Gein, right? And a lot of people that I'm sure were interested in that stuff do. But the buildup of what they do and the stuff with his mother, I think that's all well done. Like I said, it visually looks good. And I think from a marketing standpoint, it is smart to be like, before Texas Chainsaw goes off. Before Psycho, they do the beats, the piano beats. Before Silence of the Lambs, like the trailer is 10 out of 10, no notes. That's how you sell a fucking show or movie. Them using that now, granted, like I guess there could be passed down, right? But I think the Dahmer thing's tougher because there's a lot that happened in the 80s and 90s, right? So there's still many people alive affected by that. Gein's further back, but still, sure, there's family members. To associate this real life, terrible, gruesome serial killer with like your favorite horror icons, I can see the pushback already and see what the issues are going to be, but that's what Murphy does. That's what he does. So I'm very excited. I thought the Dahmer series is one of the best series of this decade, especially like horror. I can't even say it's horror. It's not like that, but like it's like, I just think it's so well made, so acted. Richard Jenkins in that show is also so damn good. Like, there's so much good to it, but I also get what comes with it, right? Superman says, I only saw Menendez Brothers season, was not a big fan of that. Yeah, that season wasn't that great, in my opinion. I think there was aspects of it that were okay. I think Javier was like home run, really, really good. I would say might give Monster a try. If you're interested. If you're not, then obviously don't waste your time. But if you like any of that stuff, Monster to me is the best thing Ryan Murphy has ever done, in my opinion. I don't think it comes close. I think there is that salacious factor, but he holds it back a little bit for more of the art, right? And I get that too. Like, just some of the ways that they do it. I know a lot of the gay community, it's weird, supports them, and a lot of them don't. It's like, how come he keeps making all these projects about these killers and just like emphasizing the gay stuff in like almost in a bad sense, right? But then you could say, well, a lot of them had that, but it's like, how do you balance that? And I'm happy I don't have to do that, because that's a very difficult situation, right? Sir Mike says, I loved 1984 season. It was a bit cheesy but fun. Oh yeah, that was a better season because they just went for let's have some fun. Better than Nip Tuck. Ooh, so Superman Mike, if you're that's a good question, because the last few seasons of Nip Tuck, they definitely, because if you don't know the story of Nip Tuck, and I'll let you know, John, if you're out there somewhere, I am gonna rank Dexter. We're running out of time, so Dexter, Emmy predictions for sure for Wednesday. Okay, if other news happens, we'll bump those down. But we're going longer on the trailers. I gotta finish these trailers off. I got 8 minutes. Then back to the day job. That show is supposed to end at season 4, and you can see they're going that way. If you've ever watched Nip Tuck, if you don't, I'm explaining for people that don't. It's going in a way where it's ending for the characters, and then the penultimate and the finale are completely like, what are we doing here? Because the FX was like, nah, do more, and they gave them a bunch of money, and then it was like 5, and then I think it was like 6, and then I think it's 7. I think it's a part 1. It's either 6 or 7 is a part 1, part 2, but they started to go on further, and it's like what Supernatural with the Eric Crispy guy, or Crispy, however you say his name. Ryan Murphy was like involved, but not really. He kind of left after, for like even the finale. Apparently, he wasn't even on set, which was like a very rumor to be like, oh, that's kind of shitty. Like Glee was this thing that went up, right? So I'd say the best seasons of that show, Mike, I'd have to really think about it. I think it's a 1A, 1B. I still might edge towards Dahmer, just because it's just a bit more dramatic, and there's probably some stuff that's a bit more cheesy in Nip Tuck, right? But for enjoyment, Nip Tuck. That's a really good conversation. Like season 1, even season 2 of Nip Tuck with the Carver. Yeah, that's tough. Like, I might actually give the edge there. So that might be a Trask told you in the future. Maybe looking at his stuff. April, I'm a big American Horror Story apologist. Nothing to apologize for. I completely get why, because I've seen every season. And I watch American Horror Stories. I like that too. Those to me sometimes are better, because I think Murphy and crew sometimes get such a great concept and they're like, but fuck, we have 8 episodes. Like it always feels like American Horror Story sometimes ends at episode 5 and then more happens. I remember when, speaking of 1984, Mike, when they did that season and they all like leave the camp, me and Emily thought that was the finale. And I'm like, oh, there's there's like 3 more episodes. So that's the thing. They have great concepts, but I think there's some great seasons, some fun. It's always a fun time, but I think you can definitely see that American Horror Story, I think, always peters out in those last 3 to 4 episodes for the most part after Coven, I'd say. I think there's probably some one-off series you could make a case for, but let's see. So I'm very excited for that. Wake Up Dead Man. I don't have much to say here other than this one. I'm happy because at first with the marketing, the teaser, and then even a bit of this trailer, I was worried it was getting very serious, like with that skull coming up and the green goop or whatever. I was like, oh, I don't want to lose some of the cadence and what like Benoit Blanc and how fun it is. I know people have speculated that title means like Benoit Blanc's in a bad state. Maybe Hugh Grant, who's his assumed husband, passed away, like because his long hair and he's more like gruffy. People have said, oh, is it a depressed character arc, whatnot? That's the thing for me where I could see that, but I don't want the whole movie to be brought down. Luckily, we're midway through the trailer. There's some comedy bits going on. Josh O'Connor looks great in here. That little stinger at the end was great. Cast, phenomenal. Like I know Johnson, as of right now, this is just a trilogy. I still want him to do other stuff, but if he were to say, hey, I'm going to do these for the rest of my life, as long as they remain the quality, that's great. Because I don't know. I think a lot of people talk about Glass Onion as a massive step down. Don't get me wrong. I think the first Knives Out is better, but I don't think Glass Onion is like a massive step down. I still really enjoy that movie, and I got to do a double feature before, and I hope I get this in the theaters. But luckily, we got Glass Onion. They have announced it's doing is it a 1 week or 4 day run, something like that? But I will see that. I will see Frankenstein because if we get them. So yeah, this looked like just good. Like I think this is like, I don't know how, I don't even know unless it's on a newscast with all of us. If there's another trailer, we'll talk about this. Wet my whistle. Josh Brolin's a murder victim, has to do religion. This priest goes into a cement room where no one else can get in, and he's dead, and it's a murder. How does that happen? Well, here we go. Renner looks fun. Andrew Scott, I love. Glenn Close. So yeah, I think we're in for another good time with this one. April pointed this out to me. It's funny because she saw a horror movie and like, oh, is this trailer out? And it's not, because I've been hearing about this. This movie's been in the work for years. Dust Bunny. So it's Mads Mikkelsen. Looks like it's kind of like a Leon Professional where he is the next door neighbor that's a hitman or a killer. Because this girl, her family gets murdered. She thinks it's a monster in her bed. She pays Mads Mikkelsen to go kill the monster. So what's interesting, this movie has been in the works for a while. Brian Fuller, I love Hannibal. Rewatching Hannibal right now. #save Hannibal. Austin's had an interesting career because he did American Gods, then he left that, and then that got canceled. He was on the Friday the 13th thing, creative differences there. I think there was some like allegations that I think got proven either incorrect or they're still ongoing. I don't know. So since Hannibal, he's had like an rocky journey, let's say, right? So I'm hoping with this movie coming out and whatnot that some of that stuff was disproved, because Hannibal, we'll talk about this week. The top 10 TV shows are coming out. It's another piece of art. That is one of my favorite shows of all time. Incredible. The pitch of it being there is a monster under this girl's bed that got a kill, and it's Mads Mikkelsen being the killer. That sounded great. I was always looking forward to this, but I didn't know this either too. Superman Mike says he was supposed to Star Trek Discovery, got kicked off. Yeah, I think definitely one of those creative forces that maybe has a lot of baggage with them. It's just a question of, is it creative baggage? Yeah, and the Monsters reboot, I remember that. Yeah. Is it baggage of just too much to handle, or is it bad baggage? That's, I don't know. And I hope it's not bad baggage because I love Brian Fuller, right? And I wish we'd get more Hannibal, but I don't think it's happening. I liked the pitch of Mads versus monster under the bed, but now in the trailer, they're making it look like these monsters could also just be people that were hitman there to kill Mads Mikkelsen and kill the wrong people. If it's that, I think there's some fun, clever stuff you could do, but I'm a little less into it. I will watch this movie because I love Mads Mikkelsen. I do like Brian Fuller's stuff, and I think it almost looks like an updated Leon the Professional. But the original pitch, and if it was more monsters, I was looking very forward to that. And this looks like it's just going to be some allegory stuff, which still could be good. But even there's some stuff in the trailer that I didn't love visually, like that fireworks fight and everything. So we'll see, but I will be there. And then finally, our last trailer, the birthday party, William Dafoe looks like he's playing like a mobster or a crime boss or something. I I'm giving you a short version because I've got to end this episode. Watch it. It looks like he has a daughter. She's bringing maybe like a fiance or something. He's getting close to family. It's William Dafoe being like a cool, collected. They even make like a Godfather type of joke, like the movie's based on him. Like he's playing that, like a mobster, and it feels like it's like a Great Gatsby thing where he even says like, "I'm gonna throw a party so people could know about my existence" or something like that. And I love Great Gatsby, so it was a really interesting trailer. I only saw this because it was under Dust Bunny. I love Dafoe. It won some film festival awards somewhere, so I will be watching this. I'll tell everyone to go check it out. Looked interesting. Finally, Maddie says, rank the trailers. Okay, so I'll go Monster number 1, Black Phone number 2. Black Phone, that first trailer, I would have put above Monster, but I think this is number 2 trailer. It may went a little long, but I also think the Monster trailer was just like fantastic marketing. So Monster, Black Phone, Wake Up Dead Man, The Birthday Party, and The Dust Bunny. Because I'm excited for The Dust Bunny, but the trailer almost got me like a little like less intrigued, which is not what you want to do, right? Like you want to be more intrigued, and it I guess it's mainly because this movie's been talked about for so many years, and it just didn't match the expectation I had for it. Because I think it's not development hell, but just been development for. I think I've been hearing this since like a couple years after Hannibal ended, you know? So let me just make sure I've hit everything on the Patreon side. I have. So that does it for another episode. Like I said, the Dexter ranking will happen on Wednesday for sure. If not, I'll push other things out. I will do a brief thing on the Emmys because Mike asked that question and I do want to look at it. My short answer is the studio for comedy is going to win everything. That's at least bank on that. But yeah, Wednesday I'll be back to at least talk about those two things, see what other trailers or news happens. You'll catch me on Alien Earth. You can catch me on Side Quest actually tomorrow as well too. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone in live chat. Thank you to everyone that listened after the fact. Very much appreciate you. I hope you have a good start of your week and the rest of the week. And I'll talk to you guys later in the Discord and whatnot. And it will not be